War. War never changes. Many years ago, Dr. Richard Moreau was banished from Vault 8 for a murder that is shrouded in mystery to this day. In the unforgiving wastes of post-apocalyptic California, Richard teamed up with a caravaneer named Harold and his company and led a scientific expedition to discover the source of the persistent mutated threat that had been ravaging the area with increased horror and savagery. The expedition led them to Mariposa Military Base, where the team was mostly wiped out by the Army base's automated defense systems, and Richard found himself immersed in the green goo known as FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus. Mutated beyond recognition, Richard fused his formless body to whatever he could find, consuming computers, animals, and eventually other people. Consuming and integrating their genes and bodies, he became an abomination, a massive animal, man, and machine, known as the Master, seeking to unify all life within himself. Last night, YouTuber Failure Terminated encountered the villain, and after failing a speed check, a most intense battle ensued.
Why would you want to hate anybody?
I don't hate nobody at all.
What? You hate me?
You terrorist motherfucker! That's where you terrorize people's lives! That's where you terrorize people's lives! You terrorize people's lives! That's what you fucking do! You dirty video!
What dirty videos do I make?
You do real fucking dirty!
Aren't you worried about... Isn't that your dog? Shouldn't you be careful when your dog is just out there? It's gonna bite somebody.
You terrorize people's lives! What the fuck are you doing, motherfucker?
How am I a
You
terrorist?
should be a fucking life anyway!
Uh-huh.
You terrorist! You terrorize people's lives! What the fuck are you do? You dirty video! That's what you do!
Failure attempted to escape, but the monster gave chase. An hour into the confrontation, after their battle had covered 25 blocks on a warm Florida night, both parties began to show signs of weakness. Failure continued to try to bargain with the fanatical mutant, while the dog that once had been fused into the Master appears to have been lost in combat.
Dog. What happened to your dog, sir? Okay. Well, I'm trying to get back to my car.
Look at that! Turn your fucking ass out! Show you doing! Catch everyone!
How about you stop following me, sir? How about you stop following me? How about you stop following me? How about you get...
The Master had learned much from the lengthy battle, and realized that he could use his robotic body to wheel in front of Failure and block his path, forcing the warrior into a face-to-face confrontation, hindering his ability to escape.
Okay.
You're Cuban motherfuckers, dumbass!
I understand,
Either one you want
sir.
Cuban!
I
Don't want you to
understand.
come a bitch Cuban!
I understand. Alright.
The heat of battle had driven the mutant to complete madness and rage, which had spilled over onto the general public, and the Master was distracted by his bloodlust towards a civilian.
Run now.
However, the Master was not without help, and one of his lackey mutants had attacked Failure, keeping the confrontation going.
What's that? Alright.
He's really mad at you, Failure.
Alright. You're live right now, so it doesn't matter. Alright. How about you keep walking? 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 How about you keep
Call
walking?
the white coats, they've lost their prized
I'm
monkey.
a righty, but my left is okay, alright?
2 hours into the confrontation, Failure attempts to enlist the help of local law enforcement, thanking them for taking part in this great battle by playing them the wonderful music of famed musician and totally not a massive douchebag, Baked Alaska.
Why are you yelling, sir?
That's your shot!
Uh-huh. What's my shot?
That's your shot! That's why
Oh,
you're dead!
that's vulgar,
That's
sir.
your shot!
That's vulgar.
You started with you motherfucker!
That's
who you
vulgar.
are.
Hey,
Stop me with you.
he's been following me for like about 30 blocks, just yelling
Stop
at
me
me.
with you. That's who you are. You stop me with you. Be harassing me. You don't look like this.
I keep trying to walk, but he keeps following. Yeah.
Thanks to Alaska. We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important. We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important. And when I'm in the jam, I know that I can't call up the man with the plan. When I'm on the run,
That's a good volume.
all I gotta do is dial 911. We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important.
However, the police are just men in uniform, and underneath the uniform, they are merely men. They could hold off the abomination for a little while, but they couldn't stop it. And soon, the master continued his hunt for the one they call failure.
Ah, fuck me. Why? Wait, where is my parking spot? Shit.
Finally, the hero had learned how to use his environment to keep the villain at bay. And using a combination of narrow streets and high curbs, 2.5 hours into the fierce battle, failure had left the master in the dust.
Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha!
And now, in the safety and comfort of a pizzeria, he could finally enjoy a slice, knowing he will survive to live another day.
Was
You kicking my ass never bothered me anyways, motherfucker. I'm out of here. See you little bitches later. I'm fucking done. Wait, nigga, chooks out.
As for the master, he is still on the loose, terrorizing civilians and beasts alike. On the streets of what a long-forgotten world once called Florida, unburdened by conscience, or reason, or empathy, he continues to strive to unite the world in one being, the unity, and will continue to do so until another hero arrives. Because war never changes.